Hey yo, welcome to Beyond the Mat, where it's all about the things and stuff, it's like this and like that. Welcome to Beyond the Mat, where it's all about the things and stuff, it's like this and like that. Welcome to Beyond the Mat, where it's all about the things and stuff, it's like this and like that, this and like that, this and like that. Alright, here we go. This is it. I'm here with my friend Veda, and we're gonna do a waxing strip on her armpit that I've never done before. I've never waxed anybody. I mean, I've waxed my arm a long time ago, and it hurt like a mother fluffer.
Oh, I'm counting on you.
Okay, here we go.
So, you remember the technique?
So I just take the little flap, and can I use both hands?
I think it's better if you use one.
But what if it slips out? There's
Okay,
not much
so
grip there.
you definitely want to go.
Can I use the corner a little bit?
No, you definitely want to use the middle.
Right.
And have like your thumb across like this. And then remember, straight down.
Right.
Like your knuckles should almost be touching me the entire way down. Never veer away from the skin.
Okay, but I'm going to use my left hand because it'll just make more sense.
No.
To go that way.
No.
Okay, go this way.
Oh my god. Okay, hold on.
Breathe deep.
Okay.
Breathe deep. Here, just own with me. Oh my god, this is gonna hurt. Okay, you got this. You got this.
Alright,
I'm talking to myself.
Oh, okay. Shit.
Here we go.
Okay, should I be on a better angle?
Nope, that's good. But like, I feel like my fingers would be better like this way. I honestly do, to go straight down, because that feel like it's gonna slip right off. It's this paper. It's so slippery. And then I keep drying my hands.
Are you sweating?
Sweating.
It's not a good sign.
Ooh, I'm nervous. Oh god.
Okay, here we go.
Here we go. I'll do it though.
Whew. Okay, remember close.
1,
And
2. That didn't work at all. You gotta put it back on now?
Oh my god.
I don't know what to say. That didn't work at all.
It took off some.
No, it didn't.
Look.
Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to Beyond the Mat audio podcast. If you're listening to this right now, you've already found out how to listen to a podcast. If maybe you're just hearing this at someone else's place, or maybe on YouTube, you can also find this show and many like it on iTunes, Anchor.fm, Pocket Casts, Overcast, and coming soon to Spotify. The double P there. Coming soon to Spotify. Yeah, we are making mad moves up in here, folks. Today's show is brought to you by The Color Purple and my favorite, number 3. Today's show is also brought to you by me and my wacky artwork. It's all for sale. Head on over to jcoleyoga.ca and scroll down to the bottom where you can find a link to my latest art collection. It's super simple. Click on the image you like, click on the size you want, bada bing, bada boom, you're on your way to becoming a new owner of a beautiful piece of handmade artwork. If you want to bypass the credit card stuff, you can just email me. It's jay@jaycoleyoga.ca. Let me know what image you want, and I will handle this all manually, and we can do like an e-transfer and cut out all that middleman crap. This is what the internet was designed for. It was designed to cut out the middleman. And wow, I gotta tell you, there seems to be an endless supply of middlemen out there today. And it's almost like these companies, they come in and they prey off of people's fears of distrust in the world. So it's kind of like you send me the money, I send you the art. All it takes is for one idiot to mess this all up by not sending the art or not sending the money, and that's when you see all these companies stepping in like, okay. Now, look, you kids, you just let us handle all this money business, okay? We'll make sure that you get your money, and we'll make sure that you get your artwork, okay? Oh, by the way, there's a small fee. And those slithering snakes squeeze and slide their way into what was once a beautiful, wild, wild west landscape, ruining a perfectly good thing. But they didn't take into account that old J. Cole would someday learn to trust others. And by trusting others, he himself, and by he, I mean me, I, myself, became trustworthy in the eyes of others. Because when it all comes down to it, if you don't trust anyone, you yourself become untrustworthy. It's kind of like how your own thoughts get reflected back at you through the world around you. So, change your shitty thoughts, and the shitty world around you will also change. We have an awesome show for you today. My good friend that I've known since like 1999, I think, maybe earlier. We go way back. This guy is a really funny, super talented comic, a comedian. He's been out there selling his jokes all around Canada lately, really making a name for himself. And you know what? I'm not just saying this because he's my friend, but he's actually really, really funny. I've been to his shows. You should all definitely check out his shows if you see his name on the bill. Ladies and gentlemen, cats and dogs, children of all ages, make some noise for Martin Saulnier. Welcome to the show, man. My new endeavor in the world of podcasting to Beyond the Mat, which has to do with yoga. I've gotten into a whole yoga life since I've seen you last time. I was working at a nightclub last time we hung out, and I was doing stand-up comedy.
Beyond the Mat, that sounds like a wrestling podcast.
You know what? It used to be, a long time ago, it used to be a boxing podcast. And it's been shut down since then. It's been shut down for a few years.
So now you're like, you know what? Let's make it about yoga instead.
I'm like, let's make it
the same name.
Let's make it about me somehow. How can I make this more about
me?
How can I make this more about me? No, my little brother came up with this name. Actually, when I graduated from yoga school, he just came up with it. He said, "Man, I got the idea for your next podcast, man. Beyond the Yoga Mat." And I was like, I don't know. Sounds kind of silly. And at the time, I was like, I don't really want to do a podcast. I'm teaching yoga, man. Like, the fuck? Like, I have a whole new life. But, you know, I can't sit still that long, man. Like, 6 months went by, and I was, like, getting the itch, and, like, I gotta do something. And so I started making Beyond the Mat into a YouTube series where I just kind of film myself saying weird, wacky shit. Stuff that comes across my mind. And
you were showing people how to make toothpaste.
Yeah, I'll show anything, man. I'll film my whole life. That was the other thing. I would love to film my whole life, like hire a cameraman to follow me around, but that's not feasible right now. And this is kind of the best option. Because I have so many friends and so many cool stories to share, which is ultimately what it comes down to. Regular people.
Yeah, everybody has a cool story to share. Everybody says that about themselves.
Like everyone has.
You know, like
at
that
least...
whole thing, like you said. Like I wanted to make it about me somehow. Like everybody has a cool story. Everybody wants to be listened to. Everybody like has like this desire to be the center of attention. That's why I do comedy, because I have this desire to be the center of attention somehow. Yeah. I wasn't good at sports. I sucked at them. I had to get something to get girls' attention, so you know what? Oh, like I can do this thing, like make them laugh. I still don't have girls' attention, but still.
I was gonna say I don't think comedy's quite the way to go.
No. Like one of my opening jokes. I know I'm gonna burn it saying this, but whatever. I always say, like, people ask me, "Oh, Marty, do you get a lot of women after shows?" And I do get that question all the time. Like, do you get a lot of women after shows? I'm like, no. I get a lot of people offering me weed after shows. That's the kind of phase that I have. Like, the guy that gets all the girls after shows is the one. He's that comic who has like broad shoulders. He's like 6'2",
Yeah.
Like, he would get the girls anyways.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
whether comedy just helps him get, like, that extra girl. That's pretty much it.
Yeah.
Like, it's just that extra girl that he gets.
Comedy. He's getting that comedy market down. That's what he's after.
Yeah, exactly.
He's like, I got the sports market. He's like, I got all the markets, man. I just need the comedy market now.
Yeah, exactly. He's pretty much like, he's like, oh, well, like, which market did I didn't get girls from yet? It's kind of like me, like, shopping for celery. Like, which market did I not get celery from yet? And he has, like, that option, whereas I kind of don't.
You know, after a while, the store would be like, yo, you bought all the celery, dude. Like, you can't keep buying all the celery. Save some celery for other people. I know it's on sale, but please, just save some for other people.
Yeah,
it's the same thing.
Like,
it's the same thing with a big handsome comic coming up on stage. I know, because I am that handsome comic.
We're not, but
I know where all those girls are, Marty. They're at my hotel after the show.
You know, I didn't see you make any videos on that, so that's where I'm calling your bullshit. That's how I know you're lying.
Oh, it's on the list now. That you're calling me out. You're calling me out. That's it.
I've seen those videos. There's nobody else's reflections in those mirrors. Like, it's just like you alone in a room, like every time. So,
do you know?
I'm calling your bullshit.
Do you know how hard it is to find someone to hold a video camera? Man, you would think that alone would just be one of the easiest things. Like, hey, I need you to just stand here and hold this camera. And then I open my mouth, and then all this bullshit comes out. And I'm wearing wacky outfits. And then the person, because I don't get embarrassed, but the person holding the camera gets embarrassed on my behalf. So they're standing there feeling like...
I saw there was the one with you with the apron. And you were only wearing the apron.
Yeah, those are my Christmas cards.
Yeah, that one. Right? Yeah, the Christmas.
Yeah, see, I'm not embarrassed, but usually my friend who I've roped into holding the camera, they get embarrassed for me.
Like, do you just, like, not tell them what it's for, and then you get there, and then, well, I'm here, I might as well, like, go through with it, not comfortable.
Exactly.
But I'll do it.
It's the only way to play that game, man. You just gotta kind of say, hey, I need help with something with video related, real quick. Come help me. And then they show up.
All right, cool. It's just like doing this, and then they come there, and you're just wearing an apron.
And I'm naked. And they're like,
you're naked underneath that apron. They come in. Well, first off, they come in the door. You were there. You answer the door with the apron, and then you turn around.
Yeah, and then it's just bare bum from there.
To get the camera, and then you hand it to them. All right, here's what you're gonna do. And then you just say, we're just gonna take a walk in the woods behind here. And I need you to take pictures. That's pretty much like.
That's my whole game. That's how I pick up the girls. From stage.
Yeah, like that.
Like right after a show, that's all I say. I'm just like, look, I need you to help me with a little something over here. Help me. That's the only way now in my old age that I can meet anybody. I have to convince them that they're helping me with a project. And then...
You know, that's the exact same technique that pedophiles use. You realize that? Like, they say, like, oh, you just come here a moment.
You're just helping me.
You know what? Like, it's okay if we take our shirts off as we do this loading wood in the basement thing.
Help me.
You know, like real men, they take your shirts off. You know, you're a handsome guy and start rubbing your shoulders, and they eventually, like, you know, it's called the knot system, you know? Like, just, you do, like, an extra...
Yeah, but it's not with, like... It's not a pedophile, though, because it's usually these women are older than me.
These women that are, like... So, are you going, like, after, like, desperate 58-year-olds?
Most of them are older, yeah. Yeah. Hey, man, when you get to a certain age, that's when you know everything. You got all the skills. You got, like, the technique down. You got, know, it's just a wink and a whisper, and I'm good. You know, that's it.
I think you just appreciate seeing a butt cheek that's not sagging.
I think that's part of it, too, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what it is.
Have you ever And I'll admit it right now. Have you ever had a sugar mama? I've had a sugar mama. Have you ever had one?
No, I have not.
No. Oh, damn.
No.
So
that sounds good though. That sounds sweet. It sounds like Here's what I'm picturing. It's somebody who's older, who still has some mojo in them, and they're just so desperate to waste out all that rest of that mojo that they will buy you stuff to keep you there to do that. Am I correct?
Yeah, yes and no. I mean, a lot of them, they have the mojo. They have all the mojo. In fact, this lady had more mojo than I had. And this is kind of, and it got a little weird because, I mean, I'm a solitary, independent individual. You know, I fly by the beat of my own drum. I don't even like to say that I'm a lone wolf. I'm more of a dingo, because a dingo, there's nothing that you can give a dingo. There's nothing a dingo wants. A dingo's like, no, I know you. I see that steak on a fishing line, and you're trying to fish me in and catch me with a steak. I don't want your steak. I'll go get my own steak. That's what a dingo is, and I kind of identify like that. So this girl, was like, she's like, oh, you can just live here. And you don't have to get a job. I don't want you to get a job. And I want you to just make music and just work on your music. And your little bandmates can come over. And you guys can build a studio here in the apartment and just work on music. And I'm like, fuck. And she's like, oh, by the way, she pulls out a mason jar, a big one, full of really good weed. She's like, here's the weed jar. Have all the weed that you want in the day. Here's some money. Here's like $60 in case you got to buy something today. I'm like, fuck, all right, this is all right. And then it started.
Okay.
It was about a week into that. I'm like, man, this is awesome. I love it. It's great.
Like, just to paint a picture, I'm just going to start with you. How old was she?
She was only probably 5 to 8 years older than me. So it wasn't a big...
And what did she do for a living?
It wasn't a big thing. And she just worked at a bank. So she had just a really good job in a bank, but she was gone all the time. She was gone all day, every day. It was like a big... she was never home from working. And when she got home, though, it was like, all right, I'm home now. Like, Daddy's home. Put your fucking toys away, and we're going to play my game now. And then it was like sexy time. And that was all right for a while. But I don't know if you've ever dated someone who... At first, you're like, God damn, she's so hot and so beautiful. And then after a little while, you start to knit. You start to pick little things. You're like, oh, I didn't notice that tiny little cellulite dot before, you know, and it grosses you out. And you start to notice, You'll notice weird, oh, I didn't know you had a wrinkle above your left eye like that. Oh, that's fucking gross. So slowly, like, the sexual attraction started to like melt away, and it started to turn into a job, and it started to turn into like this thing that I was like dreading doing. I'm like, oh my God, we just fucked like every night this week and every morning this week, and she just wants to fuck again like 2 or 3 times tonight, and I'm exhausted, and I'm just like, I don't even want to fuck anymore. I'm like, this sucks. And then the other thing,
she's starting to gross you out.
And yeah, well, I'm starting to see like gross shit.
At the same time, because
how do you? I don't know, man. How do you keep your boner up when you're not attractive to someone, when you're not attracted physically? How do you keep your boner going? And I know most guys are like, oh, you're a guy, it should just work. But I'm like, no, it doesn't. When the whole time you're looking down and you're like, oh, there's another, I don't want to say another fat roll.
Like, if you're a guy, you can say, yeah, you're a guy. If it's like a new girl, like, let's say, like, every time, even though you're not that attracted to her, you can. But if it's the same one and she's disgusting you, then you're starting to take sex as a like you say, like, as a chore, as this thing you don't like to do because you're giving pleasure to this other person and you're not enjoying it.
Exactly.
See, it has to go both ways.
Exactly.
And, yeah, it's
exactly
like the defects on someone when you start to like I always say about like this thing about a 6. All right, a 5 or a 6 can become, depending on the personality, a 5 or a 6 can become an 8 or a 9, whereas a 5 and a 6 can also become a 3 and a 2.
Right.
Depending on their personality. See, if they have like a grotesque personality, if they're a 5 or 6, they're going to go down a few notches. If they have a great personality, you're going to actually like notice only like, oh, you know what, like the eyes are kind of beautiful, and like, and every time you see that person, you start to get more and more joy.
Right.
Even though they're not like your ideal physical person, they actually do become that because you start associating,
right,
like their personality,
right?
You know, because like in the end of the day, like the first thing when you start to go out with somebody, the first thing is physical attraction always. Like as much as women say men are shallow as well. It's physical attraction at first, but the long term is not the physical attraction. The long term is
emotional attraction and everything else.
Yeah, the emotional attraction to the personality attached to that physical person.
Man, I'm glad you brought this up, because this is like my huge beef with dating apps like Tinder and Plenty of Fish and all this nonsense, because it's 100% based off of physical attraction only. Like, I can meet someone who, I'm not really 100% physically attracted to her, but holy shit, we laugh and we get on really well, and we just have the best time of our lives within like an hour of meeting someone, and you're best friends right away. And it's like, wow, I don't even notice that you have like a little hook nose anymore. Like, it doesn't even bother me. Whereas if this was on Tinder, I would see your hook nose and I'd be like, no fucking way I'm hanging out with a hook nose girl. All I'm going to focus on is the hook nose. But when the personality's there, the personality outshines the hook nose, and you don't even see it. And
yeah, because you so can't tell anything about a person with pictures.
No, hell no.
Like I don't know if you're like, because I'll look at somebody's pictures on Facebook, okay, for example, and I can make my idea out of that person out of those pictures. And then I'll meet that person, and then I'll look at those pictures in a different light, and I'll be able to tell more about that person, but it's because I met them. Now I can actually, like, put more of a background behind those pictures.
Right.
You know, like, you'll judge somebody who is standing in front of a Mustang, okay?
Yeah.
Like, oh, like, that's a douche with a Mustang. And then you meet that person, and you notice, like, how they live pretty much, like, in poverty their whole life, and then they started, like, they work really hard, and they started this business, and they have these people they hire, and they take really great care of these people, and then you'll see that person in front of that Mustang as, like, a pride thing, and you're happy for them that they have that Mustang, you know? Like, so it's, you can always, like, paint, like, a different picture of a person.
I think we come from a generation, too, where things were way more put in a box. Things were way more, like, we had, like, our categories, right, of high school. There was skaters and jocks and preps and, like greasy skinheads and the car guys who were right into cars. Like, there was these...
And if you were gay, you were not allowed to come out of the closet, or else you would get beat up. You would get, like, hell. Oh, your life would be fucking hell if you came out of the closet.
Yeah, you would never do that.
You were not allowed to be yourself.
But I think that, like, today, I've noticed through talking with the youth of today that they don't do that like we used to do that. We used to just put everybody in a box, in a little hole, and go, that's where you belong. Like, oh, you're one of the losers. Go sit at the loser table. You'll never get out of the loser table. And if you're a jock, you're always at the jock table, and you're never going to get to be a loser at the loser table. Or you'll never get to be whatever. You'll never get to leave your group that you're in. And the way that we grew up, looking at life that way, we continued along that path as we got older and moved into our adult life. And it's easy for us to just look and have all these judgments. And it's easy for us to look and see, I see like a hip hop looking kid who's got like the twisted sideways hat and baggy jeans and a bandana and everything like that, you know. And in my mind, I'm like, oh, I know everything about you. I could walk over and I could bust out and have a conversation about some shit. But in reality, in today's day and age, that kid might have just said, oh, I'm doing rapper style today. Tomorrow I'm going to do goth, and the next day I'm going to do jock, and the next day, like, now it's a scene. Now it's an outfit in your wardrobe. So now you just kind of like go and you look in your closet and you're like, which one am I going to be today? And everybody's totally okay with it, and everyone's cool with it, and everybody switches.
That's the thing. Like, I do some shows in some schools, and basically I noticed like it was a couple times I was like locked out of the theater, and I had to walk over to the principal's office to get the theater unlocked.
Yeah.
For me, and I had to like, it was like during lunch hour, so I had to walk. Like it just brought me back through high school, like walking through all through those students. I felt like so freaking small, and But looking like at like when I walked through the cafeteria, and you saw like what looked to be like popular people sitting with like what looked to be like the geeks, and just like this mix, like this eclectic mix of tables. To me, it was just like so wonderful to see, because it means like you still got your cliques no matter what. You'll always have like, nobody's going to be friends with everybody. That's absolutely impossible.
That's right.
You still got your groups, but it wasn't like, oh, you're a geek, so I can never be friends with you. That's pretty much all over.
Yeah.
That's over. It's like, okay, like you're a person that I basically can find. I can have a lot of great conversations with you. I'm gonna be your friend. And then this next person is like, I have conversations with you, they're not as interesting, so I'm going to be more friends with this other person than like 10 of you will like eventually like find. And that's what I'm seeing. It's more about that lately, and you can be more yourself, and I see like a lot of students like really being yourselves more, and that's to me like absolutely beautiful.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, sure, like kids, because like every generation is gonna find something wrong with the previous generation, like no matter what.
Yeah.
And like our generation are all saying like, oh, look, they're raised with the internet and iPads and iPhones. Yeah, but then you have all these stuff like, yeah, great, but they also have like access. Like the ones who are lazy are becoming extremely lazy.
Yeah.
But the ones who are motivated are learning at 10 times the pace that we were back in the day, and they're using that technology to their benefit.
Well, think about this too. Think about how much time we had to dedicate to memorize. We had to memorize, and then go in and do a test and try and get it all out that you memorized, and then you could forget about it for the rest of your life. But that kids' time isn't being taken up anymore with learning to memorize. Now all you got to know is where to find it. So you just got to know how to properly use a search engine. You just got to know how to determine what is a fake news site from a real news site. You need to be able to determine shit like that. That is becoming the new skills of life, is being able to differentiate the bullshit from what is real online. So your head isn't jam-packed with all this useless knowledge for no reason, which is kind of cool. And I think the whole future of the school industry is going to be revolutionized pretty soon, because in the past it was always the whistle blows. Woo! Now you know when to go get in line. The whistle blows again. Oh, it's your lunch break. Lunch break's over. Another whistle blows. Oh, now you can go to the washroom. You know, and it's all about keeping people in line, keeping them in these like, you know, just in a row. The fact that we all sit in a desk in a row in front of each other, like another lineup, it just prepares you.
Well, just like I was, because I was in Montreal this week. I was staying at a friend's place, and his kid had a school assignment to do, and he had to do a vlog, like as a school assignment about whatever subject he wanted, but he had to do a vlog, and I was like, wow, like school assignments are so different from the stuff that we had to do.
Yeah.
Like, man, and it's like, yeah, it is moving towards the future. Like, our generation, remember, like, our parents basically bitched at us that we were wasting time on the Nintendo.
Yep.
And now there's, like, a bunch of jobs in that sort of field.
Yep.
There's, like, a lot of money to do in that stuff.
Yeah, but they couldn't see that coming either. They just saw kids playing games as a waste of time, and that we got to get back to real life, regular life. Those kids are going to have a wake-up call someday. And then the wake-up call never came because we got older and we made those into jobs. We are the reason why video games is a job. It's because we wanted it to be.
Yeah, but if you go further to, like, baby boomers, like, their parents bitched at them because they read books and listened to records.
Yeah.
You know, like, that was the big thing.
That was the thing.
That, like, and now it's just like, oh, like, I wish people would watch TV like the good old days. You know, like, as a family. Yes. But meanwhile, like, 50 years ago, that was, like, people are wasting their time watching, as a family, watching TV. You know, like, it's... It's just, there's...
What do you think the next thing is going to be? I think it's going to be nanobots. I think we're going to be a bunch of gray-haired old men. Look at you kids with your nanobots. I don't understand it. I think that's what's next.
I think we have no idea what it's going to be, because back when you were a kid, did you see cell phones and internet being what it is today? No, you didn't. You know, that's what took over.
Yeah.
And the generation before, they didn't see the Nintendo coming.
No.
You know, and and before that, they didn't see the color TV coming. You know, it's all...
It just keeps going.
It's all... Yeah, it just keeps going and going, and it always does a thing, because there's, like, at first there was, like, a level playing. You know, like, everyone was on the same level, and then when something comes out, like, it kind of divides, whereas it's beneficial in one way and not beneficial in the other.
Right.
And then it just, like, keeps doing that. It just goes, I think, extremely beneficial to extremely unbeneficial. You know, whereas, like, there's internet, that's great because you can find so much stuff, but 80% of it is porn.
Yeah.
So, you know, like, there's, like, that weird thing.
It gets to a point, too, where they're making money off of it, but then they're like, how can we make more money off of this? How can we make it, like, yeah, this is awesome. It's the wild, wild west of the internet back in the 90s. And I feel like the wild, wild west is over now. Like, there was that race, there was that rush of everybody just scrambling and going, what is this thing? And how do we use it? And how is this going to change our life? And we have no idea. We don't even know yet. Way before Facebook, like 10 years before Facebook. And we had no idea what we were doing. And then it all
Here's my thing, though, about technology today versus the one from before. This is my old main rant. But, like, before they work out the bugs on something, they just come out with a new one already that doesn't work properly yet.
Yep.
You just keep doing that just to make money. Just keep coming out with it. Like, back in the day, like, you know, you worked on a toaster, on the technology of a toaster, until that toaster was... You could eventually buy an unbreakable toaster. Yep. Like, there's some people still using some toasters from the 1950s, okay, that are out there.
The technology hasn't really changed in a toaster too much.
You know, like, but there's... I think, like, there's some stuff like a computer, okay? Like, you buy a computer, after 2 years, it's obsolete. You need to dish out another $1,300 to do what? Like, to buy a computer that does the exact same thing that the computer you bought 2 years ago does.
Right, and that's that's the game that they're playing now, though. That is the new game. See, before, it was just a race and a rush to get, I have a new processor. I have a bigger hard drive. And it was to try and get the bigger and the best thing. And now that race isn't happening. They already have the next, like, 10 years worth of processors and hard drives already figured out. They're like, but we're going to slowly release it to the public. Whereas in the 90s, it was like, as soon as they were making it, they were like, get it out there, get it out there. And now they've kind of held back. Now they're holding off on what they have so they can market it and slowly release it and make more money off of it that way by handing it out in smaller little chunks.
Yeah, and meanwhile they force you to buy some because they make like a forced update. That all it does, it just makes YouTube and Facebook slower. That's it. So eventually, you just lose your shit, and you just buy a new one. You're like, oh my god, this thing is fast. Look, I can load the web page really quick, and then that exact same web page in 2 years is going to be loading slow again because of automatic updates.
Yep.
And and stuff like that. It just figures out what you use the most, and it just makes that thing slower. So you buy a machine to do the exact same thing it did 2 years previously.
So you were in you were in Montreal, eh? What were you doing? You doing some jokes?
I was doing some comedy shows. Yeah.
Nice. Where were you playing at in Montreal?
I was in a comedy contest. I made the finals but didn't win in Pointe-aux-Trembles, and then I did Comedy Nest, and then I did a few pub shows, and I was in a big one in Bois-des-Filions, and then I finished with right after Bois-des-Filions. I just drove to the Bordel Comedy Club, do a showcase there.
Yeah.
For the one that actually books the comics to wanted to show my stuff, because I eventually want to do paid shows there, and then drove back here. So I was there a week. I did 7 in 6 days.
Holy shit!
It was mostly showcasing, doing big comedy workout, and and showing my stuff and doing those couple gigs.
Yeah.
Obviously when I go there, I don't really come up ahead in money, but it's mostly to if eventually
it's
let's say
it's advertising. You're advertising.
Yeah, it's
basically.
mostly to go there and advertise myself. If eventually I move there, well then I have all these contacts.
Right.
I went there. I made an impression pretty much most places that I went. So no, I made an impression every place I went.
Montreal is the capital of Canada for comedy, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. So a lot of people say Toronto. That's if you're English, go to Toronto. But if you're French,
right,
go to Montreal. If you're bilingual, Montreal is even better.
But even big names, when I listen to big name podcasts, they always talk about Montreal. No one ever says oh, I'm going to Vancouver, or oh, I'm going to Toronto. No one ever talks about it, but they get this joy in their heart. They're we're going to Montreal. And what? I'm what?
Basically, Montreal, what I say about Montreal, it's kind of like Japan with sumo wrestlers. Sumo wrestlers outside of Japan, they're basically just a huge 400-pound Chinese guy. That's all he is, okay?
Yeah.
But in Japan, it's a big celebrity, all right? Comedians in Montreal, they're pretty much like sumo wrestlers. The big ones. Obviously, nobody was, throwing, themselves at me in Montreal. I'm still an amateur comic over there. But as soon as you start to make it in Montreal, you're essentially a sumo wrestler. You can just basically get gigs within Montreal for a while. You can travel here and there, but in Montreal, you can make so much money, especially in the French circuit. If you look at comedians like Louis José and Mike Ward, they make probably more money than the most famous English comedian in Canada.
Right, because they get both.
Yeah, just in the French circuit.
Just in the French.
Simply, Louis José makes more money, I'm sure, than any English comedian in Canada.
Crazy.
I don't know, I can't tell that for a fact, but I'm almost sure of it. And he only does it in French.
Wow.
So it's just how big this guy is. He did a show at the Capitol Theater in Moncton.
Right.
And it was the only advertise was a Facebook advertise a week before. A week before the tickets went on sale. That's what it was. Not a week, but a week before the tickets went on sale. So just the Facebook advertise. That's all it was. No posters, no nothing.
Right.
Right? The Facebook advertised. The show sold within minutes. Single-digit minutes.
What?
All right? Sold out. They added another one. The other one sold within minutes as well. That's how crazy it is.
So, everyone clearly knows who he is.
He said, because he actually came on a podcast, and he said Moncton's the weirdest place. Because, like, there's a lot of English people in Moncton as well. He said, the show will sell out in minutes, but I go outside and nobody recognizes me. So it's the weirdest thing, but like in the French circuit, like everybody knows who he is. Everybody.
Yeah, that's gotta be like good and bad. I mean, I would love. It's nice to have that fame when it's the time and place for the fame. So like, yeah, you're on stage. That's the time and place. Maybe after the show, that's the time and place. But then you want to go. Smoke a joint outside. That's not the time and place anymore. You don't want, all the attention. You want to go get a slice of pizza after the show. That's kind of like the time and place that you don't want all the attention. Like, there's a time and place.
Yeah,
and it would
see,
be cool.
He might be like overly recognized, like when he's like walking out pretty much anywhere in Quebec, right?
Right.
Like, he might not be recognized by absolutely everybody, but I'm sure, like, maybe one out of 2 or 3 people will recognize him, which is a lot, And, you want that kind of, like, celebrity thing. I think the best one, this is just, like, my non-being a celebrity-ish, is, I think the best one is people recognize you on the posters and at your shows, so like you get like hardcore fans,
right?
But then when you go out in the general public and you go to like a Pizza Delight, pretty much nobody recognizes you.
No,
at all. Like that might be like the best thing. You can still live a nice, comfortable life.
Yeah.
Whereas like you can go to the store. Eventually, like, people here and there will recognize you, but when you're walking through public, like, people are not yelling your name.
Right. I don't know, man. I think you're hilarious. Like, you're like super funny. Like, every comedy show that I've ever played with you, like, you were the funniest one out of everyone. And
oh, thank you. That was a long time ago when it was like super amateur.
Hey, so fuck.
Like,
I'm sure you're like 100 times better, but like even back then I was like, okay, like Marty's for real. Like people who are going up there and they're just kind of screwing around, but then you can tell like people who are serious, and you can tell right away. And the way that I can tell,
like the people who are taking it seriously, yeah.
The way that
I know what you mean, because I see like a lot of like new comics like in Moncton starting up, because I run a couple of rooms, like one more regularly, and like I love having the new people, but I can always tell like which ones are like super serious in it, and even if they're not like you're not doing that well every time, but they have like a good joke here and there. When I see in their face when they recognize they have a good one, and they recognize when they don't have a good one,
yeah,
and they just keep coming up every time, I'm like, that person has potential, because that person is like has self-awareness and is working on it. And
right.
I think that's a big thing. It's like the seriousness of it. It takes 2 things. I think seriousness and self-awareness. If you don't have any self-awareness, it's gonna be really tough for you.
And man, that was tough for me, because like I was literally staying at home and trying to perfect a 5-minute so that I knew it inside and out, and then I would go do that 5-minute after I perfected it. But I would never in a million years try and perfect it in front of people. Like, that shit was done in the privacy of my own home, through thousands of takes, and I would just practice over and over, just get this 5 minutes.
I still do that. If I'm on my way to a gig, like I get some people, oh, you want company? Like, let's say I'm doing a gig in St. John or something like that, okay? And sometimes people will say, oh, like, would you like company? I'm like, if it's just somebody like coming along for the ride that's not a comedian, I'd be like, I'd rather not, because all I do on the drive there is I just say my set over and over and over in the car. No music playing, nothing.
Yeah.
I just say it in the car. And I'll, like, throughout the day, like, I'll just be, like, walking throughout the house and just, like, saying it over and over and over and over. And sometimes it's stuff that I've done already, like, maybe 50 times. But I'll still say it over and over and over. Just so that I know I don't slip out. And I do that in front of the mirror. I'll videotape myself alone in the house. And I still do that, like, all the time. And I'm extremely nervous, like, on the open mic nights. Because when I do open mic, I only try brand new stuff.
Right.
That's all I want to do, is try brand new stuff. And I'm extremely nervous, and then I'm, like, for, like, 2 days straight, I'm just, like, saying my set over and over, and I'm changing things, moving things around all the time. And then at the end of the set, I know what worked, what went wrong, and sometimes I'll do it again, and what worked won't work again. Like, that happens all the time. But it's all about, you gotta do the work at home, but you gotta get on that stage. So it's a big combination of both. For me, not everybody works the same way. Some can actually just go up there unprepared, and they'll fucking kill every time.
Yeah.
And if they have something prepared and you do it word for word, it doesn't quite work for them. So, like, I'm kind of jealous of that one, because there's, like, less work involved. But myself, I cannot do that. I absolutely can't. It has to be, like, pre-prepared. And then if I'm, like, super confident, if I know exactly what I'm going to say, then I can go off script and come back.
Right.
But that part, like, the going off script and coming back, that part comes with a lot of practice. So it's a big thing about doing both, really.
Yeah. So, like, I know my shit was, like, so technical that it was right down to the word, that if I leave out one word, it's not going to make sense. If I miss one beat, one heartbeat, if that's missing, the whole thing is going to be fucked, and it's not going to make sense. The joke's not going to come around. And that's the shit that I struggle with.
I know exactly that. I've had a set that I've been doing for, like, 3 years, and I've added some heartbeats to it and removed some, and now it's even better.
Yeah.
You know, like, and you just, like, do it, like, those little tiny adjustments make a whole world of difference.
But they can throw you off too. So, like, let's say, you know, you go make that little change, but you memorized it the other way, and then it comes time to do it, and you're like, as the word, you know, you're on stage, the words are coming out of your mouth, but then in the back of your mind is thinking, like, oh, that change is coming up somewhere. I don't remember where it is. Was it on the next word coming up? And your body is still standing there, and you're still saying jokes, and people are laughing. But then in the background, your mind is still having a separate little conversation.
You're 2 sentences ahead as you say that one sentence. Oh, that's happened to me all the time.
And that...
You're just, like, you're thinking ahead.
That, man, that right there is what they call flow state. You'll hear it talked about...
Or thinking about that thing you just missed 2 sentences ago.
Yeah.
Like, that's happened to me, like, first side on the flip side. Yeah, that happens all the time. And the best way to get rid of that is just to, like, go on stage and do it as much as you can and do it at home, too, as much as you can. You gotta do both. You really gotta do both. But you'll do it more at home if you're more on stage. Because, like, I will practice like crazy the 2 days before. But if I have, like, nothing for a week, like, those first, like, few days before that show coming up, I might be, like, typing words, but I won't be rehearsing in front of the mirror, like, perfecting it as much as I should.
Right.
Like, I'll be, like, really in front of the mirror, like, those 2 to 3 days before.
And is there an actual comedy club now where you live? in like Moncton or anything? Is there an actual
in Moncton? Yeah, there's a guy named Shannon. He started this thing called Hell's Basement. I've only been there once though.
Right.
But
it's like it's a comedy club, and it's always a comedy club.
It's a comedy club, and he does trivia nights as well. So it's just kind of both, just to kind of like try to keep his
right,
just to keep his head above water.
Right.
And there's that, but other than that, there's just like monthly steady shows. Like there's a L'Entrepoduria, which I often host at the University of Moncton during the winter, during the university. Do like a monthly open mic in French at the Plan B.
Right.
So that one is pretty steady as well.
I always find I always find that hard, man, when they're doing comedy in a pub where, you know, there's like a guy just wants to come and drink his sorrows away at the end of the night. He doesn't want to listen to people making him fucking happy and laugh. And the other guy just wants to play.
I had that at the Igloo. That's why, like, I moved it from the Igloo to the Plan B, because I know Plan B, it's a small hipster bar. So I knew that the people going there would just go there for the comedy, and that's what's been happening. Like, the place has been from packed to almost packed every time.
Yeah.
To the most that I had was half packed. And the least that I had was half packed, and I've never had really any problems at all with anybody like just walking in, just wanting that random drink.
Yeah.
It's super respectful. The bartenders are super respectful.
Yeah.
Like the bartenders will whisper during the show.
Wow.
Like to anybody, they'll try to make as least noise as they can. They don't want to disturb the show.
Right.
They'll turn off the lights. The sound is great.
Yeah.
And the ceilings are low as well, which is great. It's like super, super great for that. So I don't have that anymore. At the Igloo, I had that. Like I had the back half was just people, the regulars that didn't want to hear it, and they wanted to take over the bar as we did our comedy show.
Yeah.
And it was like kind of like a fight. There was one guy though. There was this one night. It was like there was a lot of people there, and like half of them were there just to drink, and the other half really wanted to see the comedy show. And I had this new guy, and you know when a new guy says, I won't say his name for this, but you know when a new guy says, hey, I'm looking to do comedy, would you give me a spot? I'm like, sure, prepare 5 minutes. Oh no, man, I can do an hour. Have you ever done comedy before? No, but at parties I make people laugh for hours on end. Oh man, okay, this is not gonna go well.
I need an hour at least.
I'm just gonna tell you how he made this promotional video on Facebook. He's like, I make a promotional video telling people to come. I'm like, sure. He starts like speaking like this fast voice, like the ta-ta-ta, and he just, whereas you can't really understand what he says, and he just does like crazy eyes and talks in this really high-pitched, quick face, fast-paced voice.
Yep.
And I'm like, oh shit, he's gonna do this the whole time. And that's exactly what he did. It was so, if you want to know how bad it was, like the people in the back that just wanted to talk and like drown the comics, this was so bad. The whole place, and it was like a big enough place, the whole place was extremely quiet. It was as quiet as could be. That's how bad it was. It was so bad that people just stopped drinking and looked over to see what the hell is going on here. The only laugh it got was like my friend Marcel, who was laughing hysterically because he heard somebody say, "What the fuck am I watching right now?" Like somebody said that. Like the guy wasn't even speaking in the mic, but you could still hear him in the back because it was like so fucking quiet in that place. He wasn't even speaking in the mic. He was waving his arms around.
Oh.
With like it was.
Yeah.
And I've never wanted, like I had Roger host, and I'm like, go on stage. I'm like, get him out. Roger's like, he's not done. I'm like, I don't care.
He's done.
Get him
He's
off
done.
the stage. Like, just go. Roger steps on the stage. His girlfriend, he's filming it, and she's waving Roger to go away because she's filming her boyfriend. He's not done. She's enjoying it. She's just as oblivious as he is.
Oh, no.
And then I've never wanted a cane to yank somebody off a stage so much. Like, that guy was so horrible. He set the bar so low that nobody can go there and do a worse job than him.
So the rest of the night went really well after he got off stage.
I went on stage and he started like commenting. He was enjoying my jokes.
Right.
And he was like commenting on every one of my jokes like really loudly. You know, like a sports commentator. Oh my God, he just hit the goalpost. Did you see that? Well, he was like doing that with my jokes.
What?
Like, just like.
And Marty's off to another well-rounded joke. He came in with an opener and he rounded it off. He cycled back to some of the things he said at the first.
Like, oh my God.
Brought them back in again. Way to go, Marty.
Like, yeah, I did. Now you need. And I just looked at him and I pointed him, like I looked him right in the eyes and I started pointing my finger at him and I'm like, look. I said so close during whatever the fuck it is you did here. I didn't say that part, but I almost said it.
Oh, man.
But you're gonna need to shut the fuck up right now. And that got like a huge laugh. Like, I blasted him. I don't remember exactly what I said, but I know when I basically told him to shut the fuck up, it got a huge laugh.
Yeah.
Like, people loved me, like, kind of roasting him. And he did shut up, but if he didn't shut up, I was just gonna start roasting what he had just done on stage right in front of him. And then afterwards, like, this is the thing about self-awareness. Afterwards, it's like, oh man, I really enjoyed myself. Thank you very much. And then he sends me a Facebook message. Man, I want to do it again. I'm like, okay, well, like, first off, how do you think it went when you were there?
When you write,
he said, like, for the first half to 2/3, I really had him. You know, I really had him, and then I know. I kind of went into my own little world. I'm sorry about that. But, you know, at the start, I really had him. And I just said, you know, like, not just at the start, but during the whole
They were eating.
thing, you had no one.
They were eating.
Nobody had any idea what was going on.
Oh,
Nobody could understand a word you were saying. You didn't have any jokes prepared. All you decided to do was talk in a funny voice. Like, did you see everybody else that went on stage? They had stuff prepared. You had nothing prepared. Nothing at all. Nobody enjoys your this is how bad it is. Like, 2 weeks later, people were still talking about him.
Here's the question.
Like, it was
next time, just like pull them aside and be like, look, when you're writing your jokes at home, is it in front of your mom? Because she's
that's what
she's
I told
gonna
him.
laugh.
You basically went on stage and you thought you were at a party entertaining your friends. You were not. Like, I gave him like bullet points like that. Marcel said I was too harsh with him. I'm like, he's not realizing how bad that was. Like, I cannot have that on the stage. People are gonna stop coming. I know it's an open mic. It's open for everybody.
I know
I'm not against having like a bad comic trying to work things out. I'm not against that.
It's the exact same thing in music too. In any music event, any open mics that I've hosted or been to, there's always like there's someone up there that sounds like a cat dying, like.
They are Celine Dion up there.
And the guitar is out of tune, and their feet are tapping the floor off beat, and they think they're the next the next Celine or something.
Yeah, and whenever I ask them, I'm like, how do you think it went up there? Like, I saw a guy, he had like a joke about the rainbow parking lots, crosswalks, you know, like for gay pride.
Yeah. And
he wanted to do a joke about that, and he messed it up. he messed up the first line, and he was like, "Ah, shit, this makes me sound like a homophobe." And then, because he messed up his first line, I just saw his face turn white, and then he said his next line, and he fucked his next line even more. Now he looks like a racist homophobe. And, like, people are like, you're not gonna have him back. And I'm like, I saw him turn white. He wanted to puke, and then he just, like, plowed through his set. Yeah. And I just went up to him, and I knew in his face, I saw the look on his face, he fucked up. He knew he fucked up. He wanted to walk off stage, but he just kept plowing uncomfortably and awkwardly. And I'm like, I want to have him again, because he realized he fucked up, and he felt really bad about it.
Yeah.
I didn't need to tell him he fucked up. He knows he fucked up.
That's the difference.
I just came up to him and I just said, "What did you learn?"
That's the difference between him and that other guy, right? Like, you know, he turned white. He almost threw up. The other guy thinks he's the king shit. You know, like. Yeah, exactly. And like it was like, you know, like people forgot about it. You know, like his little bomb, people forgot about it. The other guy was so bad, people are still talking about it today. I'm still talking about it today. Man,
like, this is not the worst part. The guy who was bad, do you want to know the worst part? Afterwards, the next day, well, he put his set on Facebook. But here's how he put the video of his set on Facebook. He actually filmed his girlfriend's cell phone playing his video.
What?
And then he put that, like, he wasn't able to take the video from his girlfriend's cell phone and put that directly on Facebook. No, he filmed his
from the phone.
Girlfriend's phone.
Okay.
And then put the film of the film playing on his girlfriend's phone on Facebook.
Wow. And you know what though? Like, eating a bag of dicks on stage is like, it's all part of it.
It's
all part of it. Part of growing. I ate a whole bag of dicks on stage.
It absolutely is, and that's how you learn.
I did it in Los Angeles, in LA. I went to this a comedy night that I got invited to, and fuck, man, I had a whole new 5 minutes. I had it down like a science. Like, I had it down. I had every breath. And this is where I breathe out. And this is where I breathe in. And then these are the words I say. Like, I had it down. And we walk in, and some fucking basketball game was playing. And the bartenders have basketball game on every TV screen. Not one human in the bar was there for comedy. They were all there to see the basketball game. And they made me go up during the basketball game. So I'm standing on stage, and I'm just dropping gold after gold, and I'm getting crickets. Like, not one set of eyes. Like, even my friends who I brought with me to come watch and laugh, their eyes are all glued to this basketball game. So, like, I didn't have one set of eyes looking at me. Not one laugh. The whole 5 minutes went by. I'm like, longest 5 minutes of my life. Awkward, weird.
I have a similar story. This was for a guy. He had the idea of booking 2 comedians. It was Roger that told me about this. So he asked Roger. Roger told me he wanted 2 comedians to do each 20 minutes to entertain teachers for the end of school party.
Oh.
Which is at the it's not necessarily at the bar. You remember where the Cosmo was?
The old Cosmo?
Cosmo, yeah, the old Cosmo Club.
Yep.
Yeah, you know, like there's like 2 levels.
Oh yeah.
Right, so it was there. So it was on the stage there. Like, there's a stage there, and they have like some concerts there.
Yep.
So it was there, and like all the teachers, like, they just finished school that day. Was their last day of school. Now it's night, and they want to basically download all the frustration from the whole school year, from those little kids that they've been teaching about. They want to download the ones that have been getting on their nerves, the teachers have been getting on their nerves. Like, you know, like, they want to, like, just download and release all that stuff. Like, that tension has been building in that whole school year. They just want to download that. So they are drinking and they're talking amongst each other.
Yeah.
All heated conversations. Okay? And then I just looked at the organizer. I'm like, I don't think these people want a comedy show. I don't think it's a good idea. And he was paying us, me and Roger, this is like only like this was like 3 years ago, I think. No, 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2 years ago. 2016, yeah. And he was only paying us like each $50. That's what it was. I'm like, I don't think these people want a comedy show. He's like, no, go up there. I'll make the announcements. And then, all right, so he goes there and makes the announcements. Nobody is listening to him. They're just like speaking louder to drown him out as he's making the announcements. Then he presents me in this guy has like no stage presence at all too, so that didn't help. So he presents me. I go there. I grab the mic. Nobody is listening to me. The louder I talk, the louder they talk. I was supposed to do 20 minutes. I walked out of the stage after 8 minutes.
Yeah.
I just walked out.
Why do you want to waste your breath and energy, man? At that point, it's like for $50
when I started talking,
like
the few people that were close to the stage, they started to walk away from the stage. They all went like on the upstairs part. Like people were just going like further away from the stage as they could.
Right.
And then Roger went on. They kind of listened to Roger, so Roger did like some of them like for the first few minutes they were actually listening to him. And then he just lost them, but he did get them a little bit, but I got like nothing at all, like for 8 minutes, and it was the longest 8 minutes. I just like walked out. I noticed, okay, my gut feeling. If I say before a show, these people don't want a comedy show. These people do not want a comedy show.
It's easy. It's easy to tell, like, right away. You can tell when they're paying attention and when they're not. And it's not always... You can have the best hype man in the world go out, and the best stage hype artist get everybody going, and the best opening act get everybody going. But if they're not in that mood, you got to be going. That's why I was asking you earlier if there's an actual comedy club now to go perform where people know for sure... This is what's going to happen. We're all coming here to laugh.
Not some of us. Basement is that.
Not some of us are coming to drink and get hammered, and some of us are going to laugh. No, we're all coming to laugh. And then there's that respect.
No, he makes he has a fee at the door. There's a password. It's kind of sketchy, but it's like you go in through the subway, and there's like a door. You ring a doorbell. You hear somebody slowly coming up the stairs with heavy footsteps. They open the door, they ask you what the password is. Then you're just like, well, I don't know, because I didn't really check the Facebook event, but here's my $10, is like good enough. And then it brings you down. And you're just like in the basement of the subway. But it does like weed out like people walking in, like who just want to like talk during the show or whatever. Like it does weed that out. So you cannot have a bad set in there.
Yeah.
Basically, it's like one of those clubs. Like it's a comedy club where like if you bomb, it's all on you.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's really all on you.
You can't blame anything.
It's like the actual comedy clubs. That's how it is. Like if you bomb, well, that's all on you. You can't. You can only blame the crowd if they laughed at nobody. But if they laughed at some but not at you, it's you.
Man. So, fuck, dude. A couple months ago, like I haven't written any more comedy since like 2015, since I left Los Angeles. That's like the last, I don't know, it just kind of faded away. It just became a thing I don't do anymore. And I wasn't getting booked or anything anymore. And I kind of stopped trying. And I stopped doing music too, because I was getting more into yoga and doing this yoga stuff. But a couple months ago, I was just sitting here and all of a sudden it just fucking hit me like a ton of bricks. And I just got like hit with what the hippies would call a download, or like the new age people would call a download, that you get from like another entity, from the stars, from like outer space aliens or some shit, right? And I just started getting this like this comedy download, and I just had to stop what I was doing and get out a notepad and start fucking typing away. And in like no time, I had written like a 5 to a 10 minute piece, and it just hit me out of the blue, out of nowhere. And I it didn't matter what I had to do that day. I just had to sit down and type this shit out and then hum and haw over it a few times and kind of perfect it. But it was fucking funny too. And like, I don't always like make myself laugh like as much as I did this time, but I was rolling around laughing, and I'm like, okay, this means something. Like, what does it mean? Does this mean like I have to like get back out there again? And then I started to question.
I think you should try it. I think you should.
Yeah, but my memory is kind of fucked right now. Like, I can't remember things, and people say, "Oh, you just gotta practice," and they say you just gotta practice. But like, I'm saying songs that I've been singing for 10 years are gone. Like, they're just gone. And people say, oh, we just got to practice and rehearsal. I've been rehearsing these songs for 10 years, and now they're just gone. They're just not there anymore. And it's the same with writing new comedy. Like, part of it's there, but then half of it will be missing. And the same with new rap songs that I write. Some of it's there. Most of it's all gone, though. Like, I can write it. I can read it off the screen really well. And then I'm like, man, maybe I should just be a comedy writer, because then I don't have to remember shit. I can just write some funny things for other people to have to remember. Which would be
to be
nice.
Honest, like, that's not a bad idea, per se. Like, it's really not, you know. It's because a lot of times, like, I will get my ideas from other people. Like, sometimes somebody says something, I'm like, oh my god, can I use that? And you know, like, or I can like relate myself to it. And sometimes that works, sometimes that doesn't. But same thing as like my own thoughts, you know, sometimes they work, sometimes they don't.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, like there's a few things that I've taken from. It's like something that someone said at a party. Like there was this one time I was at a party at Natalia's house, and he had brought out an extension cord, and it was like extremely long. And his brother asked him like, "Wow, that's a fucking long extension cord." And right away his brother says, "Costco." And then he said, "Notice like every time somebody says they got something at anytime somebody buys something from Costco, they have to tell you it came from Costco." I'm like, oh my god, that is so true.
Yeah.
Like, and then he says they're also just a bitch about the parking at Costco. I'm like, oh my god, that's so true. I'm like, and I stole that from you. He doesn't do comedy. He was like, yeah, whatever. And yeah, it's like that. And there's another story that I also used from, well, actually Nathaniel, the one who brought out the like, there's a story from when he was a kid. And I've just implemented this little piece in one of my stories. Like, I don't, like, obviously, like, I change a lot of stuff around. That's what a lot of comics do. You know, like, we take something, some things are going to be 100% true, some things are just going to be like 40% true, and it's like extremely exaggerated. But there's a story, like, when he was a kid, he put his finger on the stove, he burned it. He was like standing there crying with his finger in the air. His mom she hears him crying, she comes running, and she's like, what happened? He said, I burned myself. She asked him where, and then he says right here, and then he puts his finger back on the stove where it burns. And I just say a story. The way that I use that story is I say, like, the parents today say the kids are smart, but no, they're not. I witnessed a 4-year-old put his finger on the stove, and blah, 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 then I just like tell that story.
Yeah.
Like, as if I witnessed a 4-year-old doing that.
Right.
But I didn't. You know, I just...
And that,
I just kind of, like, took his story.
That's fine, too, man. That's, like...
That's fine. I tell them, like, you know, like, I use that. But it's all about, too, like the comic. Like, yeah, you'll always be inspired by some...
Yeah.
Build it, you know, because, like, you know, I say, oh, the parents today say their kids are smart. Like, you know, like, that thing. And you know, so, like, you kind of get inspired by that. And like the Costco thing, what I did is I was asked to do. I don't really do this joke anymore. I use the Costco thing now for something different, but the way that I first used the Costco thing is, I had to do a show that was themed my first time. So that's obviously like our mind goes like to, like the first time you have sex. And like I say, like, it's like the one thing don't warn you about is like the first time you get naked in front of a girl, you're super uncomfortable. Like I didn't know if my penis was okay or not, because the only one that I had seen, like when I was a kid, was Ron Jeremy's. And if you don't know who Ron Jeremy is, he's the guy who had a penis that looked like something you'd get at Costco. But he didn't get it at Costco, because ever notice when somebody gets something at Costco, they have to tell you they got it at Costco.
Yeah.
And so that's how I use that line. So it's the building.
Yeah.
Of the. Like sometimes, like I'll hear something that's a great punchline. So how can I get to that punchline? It's like that's a part of the art. It's not about the punchline; it's how you get to it.
Getting there,
that makes it funny.
Oh man, I don't know. Like I couldn't. With me, I don't get inspired when I'm at home by myself. I don't get inspired when I'm watching a movie or anything. Like, I get inspired when I'm out in the world, when I'm out just being silly old me that I am and saying weird, wacky, fucked up shit that I say to people. So I need to, like, keep myself out in the world. I need to force myself to go out and talk to people and get into, like, situations with other people. Because, like, I don't just come up with the shit on my own. It just kind of, something happens that it sparks that. Like you'll have a conversation with a cashier somewhere who will say something about, I don't know, a certain kind of tree in her backyard, and it'll like, oh, I've got something funny to say about that, and then it all comes out. So
yeah, like that, absolutely. Like you have to live and experience to find humor.
Yeah,
like it comes out from everything, and I think I like the line like there was somebody like there's floods right now in Fredericton.
Oh yeah.
There was somebody who basically went on the corner street that was flooded, and you don't see his face. You just see him with a bucket and rubber boots and a fishing rod, and he's fishing on the corner of this street and that street in Fredericton.
Yeah.
And some people found it funny, some people found it offensive.
How is that offensive?
Oh my God, he's making fun of the flood. But here's the thing about comedy. Comedy, usually, like, if you listen to pretty much, like, every punchline, it's usually a joke made out of something horrific. Like a horrible experience, an uncomfortable experience, something uncomfortable, something bad happening. It's never about... Jokes are rarely about a happy moment.
No.
It's usually about something that's uncomfortable.
And like I use humor as my deflection to deflect when I want to like get out of a certain topic or a certain situation. I'll just somehow a joke will come out and make fun of. And when it's a serious situation and everybody's frowning and everybody's getting all angry, that's when the jokes start coming out of me. Right? It's those times when it's like, Jay, I don't want to hear that right now. Like, this is serious. And I can't see through their serious eyes because my brain snaps over into, like, comedian mode when shit gets serious. And it's that time when you're, like, you step back and you're, like, become present in the moment right now and just kind of, like, have a little meditation. And you're like, wow, y'all are freaking out over some nothing. If you could just step aside and see things through my comedian eyes for a sec, you would realize that all this drama and melodrama that you're going through, it's bullshit. It doesn't mean anything. In another 10 minutes, none of this is going to have any meaning over our lives.
Yeah.
And
yeah, it's kind of, I'm kind of the same way, like something uncomfortable. Like, I don't deal well with someone crying or when someone is sad about someone dying. Like, they're all, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I'm not. I just like if somebody's there and they're sad, I'm like, what joke can I do right now? You know, like it's like a weird. Like, I get extremely uncomfortable and nervous, like when people are sad or upset.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, what joke can I do right now? Like,
I don't even think that I would even say like what joke? Oh, I know. Do the joke
no,
about.
I say that in my head.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I'm like, what joke can I do right now that can maybe cut this tension? And sometimes it's just like, you shouldn't be making a joke right now, Marty. Like,
No.
this person just like lost their uncle, and you're just like, well,
Uncles,
like,
who needs them anyways, right? Am I right?
like don't you have others left? Like, like, you know, like something like that. You know, like you'll find a humor in that, but other people will be like extremely offended that I'll say something like that.
Who needs them anyways?
Like, you know, like, just.
Oh God, yeah, and at the same time, you're not thinking like, oh, I'll do the joke about my left shoe. Like, you're not thinking like that.
No. I'm
something quickly
what can
comes.
I say funny about this situation right here, right now?
Yeah.
Can cut this tension.
Cut the tension.
Yeah, and that's all I want to do. I just want to cut the tension with humor, like, right away. And it's just like inappropriate.
Yeah, but you know what? At the same time, laughter is the best medicine. It's the best way to put everyone.
Absolutely is. Like, oftentimes I don't do the joke, but I'm just like, the wheels, like, the hamster starts spinning the wheel and starts looking for jokes to make about the dead uncle that this person is crying about.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, I'm just trying to hold it together and say I'm sorry and just like end it at that. Like, I'm trying really hard.
And trying
but
to
at
keep
the same time,
in the back of your mind.
Say, look, you've got 5 of them. Okay, you lost. You're gonna lose one eventually.
And in the back of your mind, you're in like a room with your comedian buddies, and everyone is just roaring with laughter. But in person, you're like, "Don't say it! Don't say it! Don't say it! Don't say it!"
Well, the one time that I was like able to actually kind of do it, and some people, one time I was doing an open mic show, and Roger's grandmother had died, so he canceled the show because his grandmother died. And everyone I was coming to, I'm like, yeah, Roger's not coming, his grandmother did. And everyone was like, oh my God. It's like, I'm like, don't. Like, Roger's 50. How the fuck does he still have a grandmother? Like, he's fucking 50. Like, how old was this woman?
Yeah.
Like, you know, like, grandmothers die by the time you're like 25 or most, okay?
Yeah.
Like, he had like next 25 to 30 years. You guys stop being pity. And I kind of I had made a joke about it, but it was like, it was basically based off somebody who was my age who actually wrote on Facebook, I can't believe my great-grandmother just died. I'm like, fucking my age, how the fuck did you manage still having a great-grandmother? And I just really wanted to write her on Facebook, but I didn't. But I do have like a joke about, like, I'm not going to say, but I do have a joke about what I would have written and what people would have responded and what my response would have been to that.
You've got a whole...
So, like, yeah, I have a joke about that, and it either, sometimes it kills and sometimes it gets chuckles, but...
Yeah. I guess you gotta just, like, feel it out and be like, do I want chuckles right now, or do I just want my friend to not feel bad about the death in their family?
Well, here's the thing. Here's what I noticed. It gets great laughs when it's a younger crowd.
Yeah.
It gets chuckles when the crowd is like over. It gets frowns when the crowd is like over 60 because they're close to that death. Like, they're the ones that are closer to theirs, so they're like, that's fucking horrific. Like, that's gonna be me in a few years.
Yeah.
Like, I'm gonna be like, I'm already a grandmother or a great grandmother.
I don't know, man. Fuck, it's a hard one, eh? Because like death is something that I have really wrapped my mind around. Like I've really thought long and hard about, like, what is death? Am I going to be here? Am I not going to be here? Do I fade? Do I go back to oneness with the universe? Like all the LSD trips that I've been on, does it go back to that? Does it just shut off? Like I've really put a lot of thought, and I'm not afraid of dying. I'm not afraid of death at all. And because I've kind of like, you know, I have like a good understanding of it, and I've really like put some time and effort into thinking about it, that when I hear about someone else, you know, and they're like, oh, their family member died, and they want you to feel bad with them, that's where I kind of have a hard time. I'm like, yeah,
Yes,
I'm like,
exactly,
yeah, but you know,
exactly. That's my
everyone,
thing, yeah.
like, I want to feel bad with you, but you know what? Everyone dies. Like, you want to say that. You want to be like, yeah, but look, everyone dies. Like, I'm going to die. You're going to die. This dog's going to die. Your kid's going to die. And people just go into, like, freak out mode, and they want to just shut down. And, like, no. We can't think about other people dying. Like,
Because this one person died as if it's something new and unique. Kind of like when somebody, I think, like, for me, I feel the whole death thing a little bit like when somebody's pregnant. You know?
Yeah.
Like, oh my god, like, I'm gonna be giving life. And it's like, everyone who's ever lived has been born like that. Like, you're not doing something unique. Like, it's not, like, the world doesn't need to stop because you're having a baby, okay? Like, we were all babies. At one point, like, everyone ever alive.
And none of our world stopped.
The history of the world was a baby and was born like that. So it's not something unique.
No big D. No big D.
Yeah, it's and they feel like they want like the world to stop, and they have like these gender reveal parties. And it's just like, Jesus Christ. Like, nobody cares about you. They go there because they don't want to look like a dick.
Well, they want to go
like,
for the free booze is what they want. They want the
gender
photo
reveal
shoot.
There's not really booze because the woman's pregnant. You can't really drink around her, and you have to like praise her because she's pregnant.
Well, something's going on. There's a photo shoot going to happen. You're going to get some selfies are going to be taken. Something's going on to benefit the individual, to make them feel like they were a part of it. And in some sense, they become special because of it. Man, it's funny how much shit in this life is all comes back to someone just wants to feel special. Like, people like have sicknesses now. People have diseases now. People have emotional traumas now just to feel special, just to set themselves out of the crowd. I'm not trying to say that everyone...
Yeah, so I guess I'm kind of guilty of being that too, because that's why I do comedy, I guess. But at least I'm giving a service in a way.
Yeah, you're making people laugh. Like, you're giving them entertainment, and you're actually funny, and they're going in there and they know they're going to laugh, and you get the... You know, you're creating a feeling. So, like, when you're giving something back, like, initially, like, it's not like... And you don't know if you're going to get laughs tonight. So you really can't say, like, oh, I'm doing this for myself. Watch me. I'm going to go inflate my ego tonight. Because you don't know. Maybe no one's going to laugh. Maybe it's... Yeah, so, shit, I forget what we were just saying.
We're talking about, like, basically you were about, like, if I... Oh, and I was just basically saying, yeah, it's a two-way street. Like, when I'm in front of an audience, like, they have to give...
Yeah.
And I have to give. Like, it's kind of like a thing. Like, there's, like, an exchange.
Right.
Like, I have to have fun for them to have fun, but if they're not having fun, I'm not having fun.
Right.
So it's like the one thing.
What I was getting at was that you're not going in there just for you. Like, it's never going to work out that way. You can't be like,
No.
I do comedy to make myself feel better. It's like, well, good luck tonight. Hope everyone laughs. Otherwise, you won't be making yourself feel better.
Yeah, it's kind of, I guess, like if you're like if you think you're the team, that team usually fails.
Right.
Like it's like that's the thing, but like that's from me, like being like a hockey guy. But yeah, like this, like I definitely see what you mean from that.
Yeah.
Yeah, did the steam kind of like roll out from that battery dying? I think it did.
The what? The whole,
like the momentum.
Yeah, we're on a good track, man. Fucking battery. And, like, I just put a brand new battery in. So, we killed it. It's been like an hour and a half. We could probably cut it.
Yeah, it's been a long, it's been long. I think you've got enough. Like, how long were you looking?
Oh, whatever happens, man. You're a good conversationalist.
Oh, thank you very much. I enjoy those things. Like whenever I go like on like podcasts and stuff, I just like it's like I learn stuff about myself. That's what's really awesome sometimes. And like you made me like realize a couple things too tonight about like that's really cool. Like it was like I really super enjoyed it.
Well, I know last time I did like an interview kind of theme, and I'm trying to get more away, I guess, from the interview way of doing it, and just have more like conversations with people, like having chats with your friends. And
yeah, having conversations, but at the same time you have to like really like when I do that, I try to be conscious of like, okay, somebody might be listening to this, so I don't want to go like too inside. Like you know what I mean? Like too inside jokes-y. Like, oh, I saw so and so the other day. Oh, where did you know what I mean?
Yeah. Like, so have you seen?
Like,
have you seen my?
You should see what they did at the park in Shediac now. Oh my god! Like they got this.
They've got a new lobster. There's a new big lobster. No,
yeah, they repainted it, man. It's like really good, and there's this. But at the market.
But at the market, they've got a whole new gazebo. They got a new gazebo at the market.
Yeah. Yeah, you got toilets with individual rooms now. The flush.
What were we doing?
They're like,
what were we doing before?
Like they didn't even like. It's gender neutral, you know. They don't care if you're man, woman, or trans. Like no matter what, you just go in that bathroom and you do your thing. Do it. Get in, get out. You know. That's it. Yeah. They're all. I think that's how bathrooms should be. Like that whole like trans bathroom. It's like they've divided boys and girls. That's because of that. It's because the way the stalls are made are like fucking creepy. You walk by a stall, you look through that crack, you can see exactly who's sitting on that toilet. Yep. Right? And you got like that 1 foot clearance in the bottom and like 3 feet clearance on the top. I never understood why they had to be separated. Ever since I was like a little kid, I have no idea why they gotta be split up. Why one goes here and one goes there? Yeah, just modify the stalls so you don't have that crack and you don't have that clearance in the bottom and the top. So then when you close that door, you're completely alone in there. Well, like how much privacy do you need? I don't mind if someone's peeking through a little bit. No. You just you keep it for people like me who don't really like to pee in front of other people. Just get rid of that crack, and then you know what? Have whoever go in whatever washroom. Sometimes you go to an event and there's more. How many times have you went to sometimes a nightclub and the line up to the girls' bathroom is like super long, and the guys' one you can just walk in, or like sometimes like there's some places like some sporting events like they're like you can just walk in the girls' washroom, and there's lineups in the guys' ones.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? That's where like that weird individual split, and it's like, well, you could like get rid of so much traffic if like it would be anybody in whichever.
Well,
right?
Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to say what makes girls have to pee more in those situations.
But there's some events that a lot of men go to, more men than women, and there's some things that more women go to than men, and then it just like causes like a lot of traffic in one bathroom and hardly any in the other.
Yeah, don't forget like a guy will pee outside though. Like a guy can go out and you're out away from the venue or whatever you're doing, and you go out for a smoke or go out to your car or something, and a guy will just like whip it out and piss anywhere. So there's a lot of that going on. Guys are just cool with peeing everywhere outside, and that kind of leaves their washrooms a little more empty inside. I'm glad we're getting to the bottom of this very important subject.
Yeah, it's a very important. I just think that it should be like an anybody thing.
Man, let's like
just modify the stalls.
Yeah, you don't even get to. I don't even know if you got to modify them. I think we just got to change the sign on the front to say like a man and a woman can come in. That's it. Or take the sign off completely. Just put the word washroom. How about that? Not even a stick man. You don't even need that.
Well, no, it's basically like that clearance. That just to like. Because you know there's going to be, like, some perv looking on top or on the bottom, right?
Yeah, there's always some perv.
That's the thing. That's what's going to ruin it. That's why it's individual. It's because there's, like, some perv that just ruins it for everybody.
Do you think though, for real?
One washroom or the other because of that one perv.
But do you think that's why it was divided in the first place? Was because of some perv? Or do you think that...
No, I think it's because of the Catholic Church. You know how they are.
Right.
I think that's where it goes to. That's where it origins. They were like the first, like super crazy about like dividing men and women, and then like the Muslim religion. I know they're like even more extreme. Whereas like a woman has to wear like
a certain
veil and stuff, and like you can't show an ankle or else you get flogged in public.
You got to wear a certain outfit on a certain day.
Yeah, and you gotta follow your man within 10 feet, like,
too many steps.
It's like, are you recording this right now?
Oh, yeah.
You are? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
just so you know, if you are recording this, I just wanna say, like, I know nothing about the Muslim religion whatsoever. Like, so if somebody gets mad or offended at what I said, just, like, I'm admitting I know nothing about it. But still,
disclaimer, #disclaimer here at the end.
But still, like, I can't understand someone who is like defending Muslims and who's also a women's right activist at the same time. I can't understand that because
you're gonna have to
if there's someone who violates women's rights more than like in Saudi Arabia. Are they Muslims there? I don't know. That's how uneducated. What are they?
Man, you need to read a little book.
I can't read, man. I just can't. I just know that Saudi Arabia scares the shit out of me.
Just don't
if you do or say the wrong thing, because that's a place where there was a blogger who basically said he blogged in Saudi Arabia as to how the Muslim religion is bullshit. And he got 10 years prison and 1,000 lashes.
Right, because you can't go to another country and talk shit about them, basically.
No, he was from that country.
Well, you're not allowed to be in that country either and talk shit about them.
He got that and his wife and children, I think they're refugees in Canada, I believe in Quebec, but it's like, and what they, like, for the lashes, what they do is, like, every week, they walk you to the market, tie you to a pole, give you 50 lashes in front of everybody, and then walk you back.
Yeah.
And, like, people watch it like it's a show. Like, that fucking freaks me out. That freaks me out. And, like, as a woman, if you're raped, it's your fault. You're jailed and you're flogged. Like, that fucking freaks me out.
Yeah, but
just, like,
I've studied enough different religions that I know that shit gets twisted. Like, people find they'll find any little loophole, or they'll try and read it as literal as possible. They'll just try and find something that resonates with them, causing pain and anger and hate, and they'll twist it. And it doesn't have to be a Muslim religion. It can be any religion at all. And I have, like, Muslim friends. I have white Muslim friends, and they're just the most beautiful, loving, kind people I've ever met. So
yeah, I
know
I haven't met anybody that's Muslim in Canada who's like, who basically wants to, like will basically, like, do you any harm. Like, they're the nicest people. All that. Like, I haven't met personally, like, anybody in Canada who is Muslim, who is basically, like, has any, like, fucked up thoughts about, like, flogging a woman, or, like, if she's raped, you know what I mean? But, like, I know in the country, it's fucked up, like, in Saudi Arabia. So I'm not saying, like, all Muslims are like that, but I'm just saying, like, in Saudi Arabia, I would never go there. It just freaks me out. Like, you look at people who are, like, Catholics in Canada. Like, everybody who says they're Catholic, they're all, like, Catholic in theory. Like, they don't practice anything in the Bible. Like, they'll still masturbate, you know? Like, they'll still have premarital sex.
Mm-hmm.
They won't, like, just eat fish on Sunday. You got, like, the few here and there that are, like, extreme. But they're, like, so little in numbers that they don't have any effect on anything, you know? Yeah. It's like I think, like, it kind of, like, disappeared type of thing, like the whole Catholic thing.
It's still, like, it's, like, underwritten. It's, like, the layer beneath it all. It's all still, like, interwoven into the fabric of society with Catholicism anyways, and really screwing people up. Like, to this day, people will still, like, refer back to, like, old sayings, like you were just saying about, like, masturbating, like, don't play with it or you'll go blind. You know, these were saying
old people.
These were
that's old people.
Old people, yeah.
That, like,
but that shit gets
like,
it gets handed down.
I haven't met a 15-year-old who tried to, like, sell me a Bible, you know?
Oh, you haven't met the Mormons then that come a knocking.
Well, Mormons is not Catholic. See, Mormon, that's what?
That's their
just
own.
Just over 100 years old.
They're their own thing there, yeah.
Yeah, they're kind of their own thing. I think they're just over 100 years old, or something like that.
Hey, I just sent you a link. I don't know if you're going to get it on your Facebook. I just sent you a link to a news article that popped out that was hilarious that I wrote down. A little boy got stuck in the claw machine. You know, the machine that you use the claw and you get the stuffed animal out, and it always slips out of the claw. The little boy crawled up through the hole and got up inside. So there's a flap where the toy comes out, and he realized that's where it comes out. So he crawled in through the hole, and then the flap closed behind him, and he crawled right up inside with all the toys and the claw and everything, and he's in that little room. And then where was this? In Florida. And his parents had to call 911. Well, the fire department showed up, and they had like 4 or 5 firemen getting him out of here. And he ended up, like, taking some toys with him anyways. So it's like...
That's the thing.
His plan worked.
This is the thing. Like, when that kid got in that machine, he wasn't freaking out. He was, like, excited because he was, like, amongst all those little stuffed animals. Like, he was excited. He was like, I got my pick of anything I want here.
I can take whatever I want.
He was happy.
You should
was
see
happy.
the smile on his face. Yeah, he's like the happiest kid I've seen in a long time. He's right in there with all the stuff he's...
Plus, props to him. He's got this story now for the rest of his life.
That's it.
Like, I'm actually jealous. Like, I would love to have that story. But yeah, it crawled in one of those claw machines, got stuck in it. They had to call the fire department
So...
and the police to get me out. But I got that toy. You know, like... I would love that story.
Let's allude this back to life. So life is like a claw machine, and you just got to find that little hidden flap and crawl in the hole and get your toy. That's the metaphor that we're going to take from this episode. Life is like a claw machine.
No, that's a bad metaphor.
Find the humor, Marty. Find the humor.
It's a super bad one. That's like extremely bad. Like that's why you do too many hallucinogens, smoke too much weed.
There's never too much. And hey,
it's frying your brain.
I've cut it back, dude. I take cannabis once a month now, sometimes twice a month. I don't smoke it anymore. I just eat it. And I'm doing a weed fast. So even when I eat it, I'm not like eating like, you know, a joint worth. I'm just eating like a couple little drops with some coconut oil. And
all right,
here's
a metaphor I'm gonna use. Okay, so if you have a car and you keep revving that engine to like 4,500 RPM for like 8 years, and now you say, oh well, now I'm not revving it anymore. Yeah, but that doesn't like fix the damage that was done like the 8 years previous. Just because you're
it depends. Right now. It depends what car you have there, sir. Is this a BMW or is this a Honda Accord?
Like, okay, like I'm happy you're not burning as many brain cells now as you were before.
Oh, thank you.
However, it's not gonna bring those old ones back, Jason.
No, and I don't want those old ones back because those were bad brain cells. Those had absolutely no purpose in my life. They never got me any further. So I don't really need those. I'm happy they're gone. Man, I think our time's about up. Where can people find you? What do you got coming up next in the next like month or so?
You can find out what I have next by going to my Facebook page, which is Martin Saulnier, comedian. My shows are always posted up there every single month, and sometimes as they go on. So that's Martin, so Martin, and Saulnier is a French-Acadian name, so that's Saulnier. And your modest comedian. You just look at a picture of me with an old man, gray hat, and wearing black, and smiling really awkwardly. As in, well, I guess I have like that "you're stuck with me" look on my face on the Facebook picture. Like that's pretty much that. That's that's how you find me.
That's how you find me.
Oh, you can also add me on the regular Facebook. I'm just holding a mic and I have my hand holding steady as if I'm making a point. That's
so that's
how it is. I'm saying say no to drugs, kids.
Is that like a real shot, or you just did like a photo op there? Because that's what comes up on my phone when I called you here. That whole image.
Which one? The one with the hand standing out?
Yeah, you've got a hand out, and you've got the mic directly beneath your chin.
Yeah, that's a real shot. That's not a headshot. That was during a real show.
Man, it's like you're in the room with me right now.
Yeah. There you go. I love that picture. That was actually in Bathurst.
Right.
Love that picture.
Cool. All right, dude. It's been a blast, man. Thanks for being here.
Man, it was a blast.
Yeah.
Let's do it again.
Yeah, let's do it again real soon. Real soon.
And I want to say to anybody who wants to do this show, it's a lot of fun.
You can tell them that with your own words when you share it with everybody.
Yeah, well, as soon as this comes up, just send me the link. I'll post it up.
For sure, dude. Thank you so much for being here.
All right. Thank you very much.
All right. See you later, man.
Talk to you later. Bye.
Hey yo, welcome to Beyond the Mat, where it's all about the things and stuff. It's like this and like that, sitting in a lotus seat We breathe deep from our heads to our feet till we feel inner heat. A little bit of rhythm for your soul, stretching out your minds from your head to your toes. We in our flow state, we don't know no hate. We end up feeling great though, so we correlate. Coil snake gonna rise, sunshine. We take our time to appreciate divine grace. It takes place in a pace in them inner states. From a country road down to the interstate, we contemplate this, we here to make this, we here to break this, but we never fake this, we never hate kids, we in the love vibe. Me and my whole tribe, we gonna try to be fly with the sunshine. Yeah, that's right. Just vibe. Taking time to design what is mine, what is yours in the course of a force, but we never skip the chores, we skip the course.